Okay, hi. So before I start, if you guys have any question from today or previous session, please send it through. Although we won't be answering them immediately, but it will be sent out to everyone as a post-webinar thank you email. And also, please be clear on your answers so we can answer them effectively and efficiently, clearly without missing any details. Thank you. So let's start. Today I'm going to be training you guys about philosophy of creative excellence and how to create them for our platform, but also to think in the mindset of everything you do. I'm going to show you some examples, some interesting numbers, some theories to make you more creatively focused in everything you do. So let's get this started. Okay. Let me introduce myself. Hello, my name is Norio Ichikawa, and I'm a creative director for a creative lab based in Tokyo. I partner and support creative in APAC region, and one of the one of the global creative lead for this part of this world. And I have a very extensive experience working in advertising and design industry for 15 years in both US and Japan, and I've been a creative director and art director for top agencies such as TBWA Day Los Angeles, Wunderman Thompson, Publicis Sapient on brands such as Microsoft, Xbox, Disney, Nike, Honda, and all that. Okay, so enough about me. Let's set the stage a little bit. So first, let's take a look at our current state of marketing. The current situation is our world is oversaturated and hypercharged, and oversaturation of information, product, service, apps, and all that coming at you at once, fighting for every minute of your attention. And the traditional model of needs and wants are becoming irrelevant. People today lives in a world of overabundance, and they can get whatever they want and whenever they want it. Here's a quote from one of the Gen Z's social media star, Iman. He says, "I have never bought brands because of any traditional advertising," which is pretty shocking to me because I personally have been working in industry for a long time and I built my career out of it. So it hits me hard in a very personal level, and it really forces you to think differently and to approach our up and coming consumer in a more personal way. And here's some shocking number you see from Millennial and Gen Z. They are starting to, trust less about brands on their ads. Japan 61% and US 82%. Southeast Asia has similar percentage of distrust as well. They also don't believe the hype. 45% don't want to be deceived by marketing. 62% believe ads are untruthful and exaggerated. 37% feels unease with the untrustworthy ads. Again, these are numbers from Millennial and Gen Zers. And speaking of Gen Zers, they kind of consider themselves the kings and queens. They always lived in an environment that's surrounded with smart devices. I like to call them smartphone natives. They're always on. They get to see a lot of ads. They become desensitized to it. The traditional ways of marketing feels old to them. It seems like they're talking to their parents or grandparents and not to them, and it's not addressing their needs. But there's hope. We see trends in the way we approach advertising and marketing. The balance of power in ads is shifting from brands to consumer. To be clear, traditionally, it's always been about brands initiating the ads, but that started to shift a little bit by utilization of influencers to do their promotion and stuff like that. And now we come to the point where we utilize our consumers, our fans, to initiate the campaign. That makes it more personable, it's trustworthy because it's not 100% coming from the brands. Also, when you target people has this automatic wall of I don't care. They automatically block out ads that they are not interested in. So it's really hard to penetrate with this, with traditional, and passive marketing message. But in TikTok, we kind of figure out the way that we could break through that by combining music, game, humor, and love, plus a powerful UGC. And just by changing the way you talk to them, you acquire new fans, but you also turn existing fan into a super fan of the brand. Okay, so let's go back a little bit and talk about the basic of UGC, because that's what TikTok's hashtag challenge is all about. Definition is any content or media that is created by consumer or followers of the brand rather than created by brand company itself. And the real power of UGC is actually transforming our passive viewers or consumers into active advocate of the brand. So the UGC resonates with the fans because it feels authentic, and it's done with pure love of brand rather than promoting. It's a reflection of the true feeling of the fan who uses the product or service. And why does this matter? Because at heart, people trust people. According to the market, 85% of consumer finds UGC more influential than the branded content. And over 50% of those surveyed actually want their favorite brands to tell them what type of content they want them to create. So UGC drives trust, it drives desire for engagement, and it drives interest in what you have or what to say, and make people want to get involved. And we have a really passionate group of creators in our platform. Over 50% of users post video every week. Average time was spending about 51 minutes to make this video. And let me show you some of the things they could do.
Oh, she's sweet but a psycho, a little bit psycho. At night she's screaming, I'm on my mind. Oh, she's hot but a psycho, so left but she's right though. At night she's screaming, I'm on my mind.
And we also have this interesting interview where they talk about new generation of creators in our platform.
It's something that I was thinking about with TikTok, and what I think is so exciting about the creativity that I see on that platform, and how it's gonna, I think, breed a generation of, as I think Vine helped it do, breed a generation of super creative individuals that aren't necessarily in the industry, but are just average people with the abilities and skill sets in terms of video editing, putting clips together, like sound editing. Like there's so many things that platform, similar to how Instagram did in a sense on the photo side, 100% editing, right? It's like these tools that are now so mainstream are providing the vast majority of people in the world who are young, who are using them, with tactical skills that they can use, and tangible skills that they can use, that would take people years going through film school to really get to. And it's crazy to think about it, but like these kids, if you watch some of these videos, as you'll know, like this stuff, the way they do their transitions, the way they use like comedy, their timing, like all these things, it's like that's a skilled generation that's coming through, and that is mainstream. It's not just a few people, that's like everyone.
And how does TikTok enable this? Through our like simple to use, like effortless video shooting and editing tool, TikTok enable everyone to be a creator. And it also enable ordinary people to not to consume, but also easily create content directly from their smartphone. Here's a selection of some of the video, some of the top video that was created around the world by normal people, starting from India. Okay, and then next, the US.
Challenge. You have 10 seconds to change your look.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2,
Oh my
1,
God.
0.
Okay, next, from the UK.
I mean, it's a problem, call my slits, I want all of them, come to the back, yes, come to the back.
So, TikTok has become a platform enabling creative expression and a melting pot where anyone and everyone can showcase their creativity and express a side of themselves that even their friends or family has never seen before. So TikTok experience is a place of raw, authentic, creative expression. And in terms of authenticity, we have some interesting number as well. Gen Z trusts authenticity in both people and brands. 79% of the people can find in recommendation of people they trust or that's authentic. 89% trust brands that's also authentic. And also in TikTok, we're calling this word called flossom, which means embracing your flaw is awesome. And to break the flossom up, to break it down a little bit more, it's about pointing out your disadvantages. It's not about pointing out your disadvantage, but it's about embracing your imperfections. So, you don't have to be all, perfect when you're filming TikTok video. You could show a little bit of your, little dorky side. You can make some mistake because it makes you look real. And because of the self-expression authenticity, it's even getting a stamp of approval from like teacher across like high schools in the US. I'm going to read a few quotes from one of the teachers from the school, Mr. Callahan. On other media, you're hiding your flaw, but you're showing them off. The principal from the school also said TikTok is a safer place where you can post video about you being yourself rather than worrying about being perfect. So you kind of contrast it against other platforms, like where it's been about being polished, manicure, representation of yourself. So they really believe in our TikTok experience and being raw and authentic. And we have diverse and eclectic group of, that came a rise of I don't check the box generation. You probably heard some people call Gen Z even a new age millennial lately, but it seems like more you try to label them, it gets kind of trite and outdated, the label becomes. And it seems like more you try to define them as well, they're deliberately outshifting the definition. The next generation of creators don't want to be labeled or defined, and why should they, right? And TikTok, we often talk about, label can be finite, but ideas are not. And TikTok embrace diversity, and we create ideas that transcend different culture, habits, backgrounds. And let me dive deeper and put you in perspective. For instance, if you think of cute fashion, the definition might be different from region to region. You could clearly see in this fashion example, Japanese don't typically show a lot of skin, and their definition of cute is like an anime cute. And the word cute in Japan, which means kawaii, also applies to something that's cool as well. So if you sometimes wear some cool shirt or you see some cool design, they'll say, oh, kawaii. But that means just cool. So it gets kind of confusing if you don't really understand the culture. Another key difference in culture, obviously, the music. Countries like Singapore are very diverse instead of culture, and they embrace different type of music. Western artists like Billie Eilish is popular, but they also are interested in K-pop like BTS, and they're also interested in Taiwanese artists like Jay Chou. In terms of home, a lot of people don't really think about the size of their home, which is a main place for our users to shoot their video. Countries like Taiwan, Japan, Korea, Hong Kong, they have very small homes. So, and sometimes, I get clients from other countries, wanting to push Japanese users to shoot videos with the whole body, especially during a lockdown. The house in Japan is typically small, and user may not want people to see their home. So we need to consider allowing them to join the challenge with the filming by the waist up for this particular culture. And lastly, the choreography. If we have dance-based challenge, it's tempting to push, for me, like cooler, like US type of dance move, where we encourage freestyle dancing or let them be creative with their movement. But a few parts of the world, it's really hard to implement that kind of thing. For example, like I'm gonna go back to Japan again. Japan has a bon odori culture where traditional dancing for festival, and which every movement is tied to meaning. So we repeat same simple patterns of action so everyone could join. In this country, like even Japan and Korea, the campaign for official video is very important because they tend to try to copy exactly the action or choreography exactly. But in Western culture, campaign video is considered more of a suggestion. They could just go off whatever they feel like. So let's start looking at the dance move from the US first.
Yeah, you got that yummy, that yummy, that yummy, yummy. Yeah, you got that yummy, that yummy, that yummy, yummy. Word on my way, yeah.
So these are the dance move I kind of grew up in. I grew up in the US, so it's kind of interesting. It's easy for me to suggest this. But for Singapore, they love K-pop. So this K-pop music called Any Song, it was a big hit there, and people were doing their dance move from their music video.
왜들 그리 다운돼 있어 뭐가 문제야 say something 분위기가 겁나 싸해 요새 이런 게 유행인가 왜들 그리 재미없어 아 그건 나도 마찬가지 Tell me what I got to do 급한 대로 blue
And then Japan, you'll see that the movement is much slower, but they kind of go with the lyrics. And then lastly, India. And India, they got a lot of great dancers there, and they infuse Western dance to their music. So you'll see a different culture approaches dance in a little bit different way. And even when it comes to effects, mainly like in Asia, they love like brand effects. They understand the features of the product easily, and they love to play with effects. But in the West, it's all about using product for challenges, actual product for challenge, and they add music to initiate choreography. So let me show you one of the Asian brand effect.
Gotta say, taste, taste. She can get a taste, taste, taste. She can get a taste, taste, taste. What did it say? It's all the same like Mary Kate. Taste, taste.
I'm not gonna play everything. It's gonna take forever. But let me jump into the US.
5, 6, 8. Y'all need to hype me up.
Do that thing with your eyes.
Money, look.
Let me see them lips. Attitude and give me bass.
Boom, boom, boom.
Eyes, lips, space, wait.
Of course, not everyone is doing exactly this. Few folks from Asia is probably doing similar thing as the West, but there are some separation we see from the East and West. But does this mean that you can't do brand effect campaign in Australia? No, of course not. You could do that. It's about the content of the campaign that makes it effective, and really understand what they're looking for. Let me jump. So how's this gonna, all this information I gave you, how's this gonna work for the brand? So I would like to introduce a new marketing driver, and I like to call that a WTF. And it doesn't stand for what but we dissect and analyze successful campaign in TikTok and distill into 3 buckets. And W for WTF stands for wish. Wish is empowering people to desire to make the world better and help spread positive message around the globe. And a great example of this is the Ice Bucket Challenge that was a hit in 2014 for ALS or Lou Gehrig's disease, and help encourage donation to organization and show the world that there is still humanity left in this world. And Gen Z are passionate about social causes and social goods. They come across feeling strong, and they share things that they feel really strong about. And of course, they like to volunteer and to NPOs and donate. And the work that best exemplify this thing is called the Vietnam's Health Ministry of Hand Wash Move, which encourage people to wash their hands to protect themselves from COVID. Let me show you the video. So this has a really great result from the world, a lot of coverage from the news around the world. And yeah, it was really great. Then next, T for WTF stands for try. It's enabling people to make an effort to accomplish something new. And a great challenge example of this is the bottle cap challenge. It looks easy to do, but it's hard in reality, but it's really cool to watch.
When I popped off, then you go gave me just a little.
So this was shot in our office before the corona. So, but it took us many tries to get this done, but we got it done at the final shot. So, but it was it's really cool to watch. And a great example of this in our platform is Chipotle lid flip challenge. And the objective is to buy the Chipotle bowl and then you just flip the cap on top. And it sounds easy, but it's actually really hard to do. And let me show you the official video.
What's up, guys? I'm doing the Chipotle lid flip challenge. It's this easy. Wow, I can't believe I got that.
So that's pretty cool, but like you'll see on the next video, this guy's gonna keep messing up over and over again because it's not that easy to do. And speaking of, Flossom, you see that, you see like the likes from the official video and the influencer who keep messing up on the challenge is pretty high. And this is what I mean by being authentic. It's okay to make a mistake. It's okay to make, mess up. It's about, it makes you look real and people still love you for being yourself. And in terms of the result for this campaign, they did very well. Chipotle was so pleased with the result that they ran this several more TikTok campaign, and each one beating the results from previous campaign. Okay, the next one for F, WTF for F stands for fun. Fun is it's enable people to have good time and have fun. And it's supposed some challenge that actually it's easy to do, but it's also fun for people to watch. An example of this is, I think it's in our platform. It's kind of old, but it's called Whoa Challenge. All you have to do is you just go with the beat and then you kind of do this arm movement. And we shot this next video in our office as well. And this is before Corona as well.
Damn, your girl so fine, but her breath is like. She say she wanna dance, but she don't know how to. Iced out, ooh, looking like a star. Her name is Jenny, ooh, bitch, I have no panties.
Okay. And in terms of the fun area, our users spend money to have fun. They live for fun, enjoy life, and they feel like the world is their oyster. So they're very positive folks in our platform. And the work that best exemplify fun is Chili Tune for McDonald's Japan. The objective campaign is to get the word out about the new McDonald's value meal. And what this TBW Hakuhodo did was very clever. They added the sound of iconic sound from the McDonald's in Japan, which is a sound of French fry being done with the beat of the music. So if you listen to the beat of the French fry being done at the store. So that's the sound that you hear all the time in McDonald's in Japan. But now they added that to the beat of the music. And then speaking of culture, in our previous portion of the cultural diversity, we incorporated Obon style choreography for Japanese people so they could do that, and they also did very well because they recognized the beat of the music. And this became one of the successful campaign in Japan. And I actually presented this presentation with the EVP of McDonald's Japan, and she said that during this campaign, her team told her that there's a lot of people doing this challenge in McDonald's, and it also did contribute to the sales going up. And that is the breakdown of WTF, was try fun. But now that you learn how to make campaign effective and ideate efficiently, I want you to unlearn everything a little bit of a change up. And I want to talk a bit about what is it to really bring out the creativity, get your creativity out. As I mentioned before, I came from an agency, creative agency, and it's about nonstop ideation and execution along with partnering with strategy. But it's hard to bring out, effective work just by following the process. Ideation is messy. I want you guys to open your eyes to what is it to require to be effective. And I usually teach this stuff to like creative team, but today I'm going to share this with you all. And I've also integrated a very inspiring talk with Martin Riegel of White & Kennedy. White & Kennedy, if you don't know, is a top class when it comes to campaign that really inspire and touch the heart and soul of the consumers. Of course, they're not perfect, but their batting average is pretty high. So let's get this started. So today, we noticed that including creative companies, are feeling a lot of pressure from people who believe marketing is an engineering problem. Especially because there are new breeds of marketers who are obsessed with efficiency, asset distribution, KPI rather than just an idea. They want to create most effective ad with less time, less money that target the consumer at the right moment. However, while we're kind of dealing with that, not consumers, people are embracing culture, and the culture are blossoming with diversity and variety. And as a result, we see advertising and marketing has not kept up with the capturing the heart and soul of the people. They just think ads are annoying and they're not as good as the programs. And we see like creativity is being enslaved. People don't want to create ideas that are different. And they want safe and do things that's already been proven effective. Hence, there are influx of, kind of crappy ideas out there. A lot of like ideas that people have copied or recycled over and over again because they know that it works. And we're wasting our time to create like advantages and value. We focus too much on that, and what corporation wants and what creativity needs are different. We'll make no progress until we understand this and navigate the tension with intelligence. So let's consider briefly the corporate instinct. The corporations is all about being an exercise in control, process, and replicability. And indeed, like much of the corporation from like supply chain management to human resource to legal to logistic and manufacturing to finance can be subjugated to repeatable rules, formulas, and standardized practices. And in fullness of time, given over to like, algorithm, AI, and robots. The instinct for order and control is very it's understandable. But we cannot reduce marketing into an engineering problem. The people out there that believe in this fantasy that we can professionalize creativity and that we can extract and generate unpredictability and human elements out of the process. Repeatable method produce predictable outputs and treat it ideation like manufacturing process, and with this mindset, we could potentially jeopardize the creative process of creativity. But all this is great if you're running a manufacturing plant, but not if you're in a market for creativity. If you look at these well-designed book, they are very similar if you look at it, right? It's the same format. It's predictable, and predictability kills value of creativity. And creativity amplifies commercial impact marketing investment by factor 11. And this is actually came from the report of Binet and Field published by IPA. The money you put into creativity, that will amplify to factor of 11 times. But creativity, the stuff that captures the imagination of people and enters the artery of the culture that creates this value, cannot be born of orderly, logical, linear if this and that process and system. because true ideation is messy. It doesn't happen in a vacuum of efficient process cycle. And this tension between what corporation wants and what creativity needs doesn't have to freak us out. It's not new. It's not unusual. The tension is a feature, but creativity must strive to be, undomesticated. And today I'm going to give you a few suggestions to how to create a space, condition, environment in which creativity can realize its promise and potential. And let me introduce you a few ways to help you do that, to resist the system. Number one, don't be a cog in a machine, escape and get into a culture. What this means is, don't just study people in a research report. For many marketers, the consumer is now a faceless, theological, and abstract construct. And when we see when we only see consumers or impression or traffic or click, we kind of dehumanize the whole enterprise and reduce the people to just another component into a piece of machinery in this marketing campaign. And doing so, we reduce the marketing to a physics where body, formerly known as a human being, are acted on by force or message, and sales and revenue and profit, whatever is emitted. So it kind of becomes like a mathematic problem. And we don't really, have the true contact with these people these days. Instead, we've been reduced to putting people into sterile, windowless environment, telling them that, you're being watched by an anonymous observer and subjugating them to more often than, a bunch of questions. And we kind of call this learning. And this isn't real life, it's people ripped out of the context of their daily lives and their homes and their families and their jobs. And it provides us with kind of a distorted version of reality. So this is why you see a lot of psychobabble is passed off as an insight. An example is if you're gonna do stuff for a refrigerator campaign, the refrigerator are canvas for self-expression. Some people think insight like this is just, a cure-all solution, while its power and benefits application are needed, but this is kind of doesn't mean anything. It's kind of meaningless. And the truth is, no wonder obvious is passed off as revelation as well. You see these kind of things in a world of day-to-day constraint and social pressure. People want to go out at night and hoping something expected to happen. Of course, if people are pressured during the work, they want to go out to release the stress. So, to do marketing very well, you have to demand a contact, and you can't shape culture if you never ever make contact with people. Okay, number two, don't expect data to do all the work for us. Data is not a cure-all solution. Just because you have more data doesn't mean it's going to make your work better. For example, you often see these kind of things from the scientists, right? We have real-time predictive data for every single one of our 80 million customers. And then you kind of ask them, what insight do you have into them as a people rather than shoppers? And they're like, no, we don't have that, because it's really hard to measure that kind of empathy and all that things, right, about people. And because of that, we see so many ads and marketing material that looked the same or similar, because people are just being inspired by work they've seen in the past, and we are now making an effort to find ways to create things that resonate with people. However, it's hard to create things that resonate with people without having empathy to truly know how people think. But it seems like people don't want to spend time and money to really understand the consumer, because they prefer reason 99% of the time. They put people in buckets, they take survey, take their average and use them as a reason. Okay, number three, start feeling the obvious. Marketing long ago, we put, insight and relevance on the pedestal, but now instead they go for more scientific method, which are more linear, the logical process that can get you a relevance. If people want this, then give them that. But relevance alone isn't enough. because relevance as hell, it can be relevant as hell, but still be boring. It's no longer enough because we compete in an oversaturated, hyper-charged cultural marketplace where, you know, every citizen now has access to a creative tool and network of distribution. They all vying for people's time, attention, you know, under strain for most of the time by good taste. Legal department, policy team, PR minders, you know, breaks of copy testing. So a simpler way to beat that is to be interesting. Being interesting is the only chance we have to compete for unfair share of cultural attention. But instead, we see corporations struggling themselves by wanting to control more, keep implementing proven scientific method. Solution, you know, is not lie on how different you want to, you know, control things. It's about resisting their stranglehold for both mind and the way we work. So how do you loosen this control so that they can grow and mature and not lose its vibrancy and adaptability? The answer is culture. The protection and nurturing of culture is creativity's best hope. And for culture to operate through, you know, share value, share ambition, focus on outputs, not inputs and process, and provide space for individual initiative. So for corporation wishing to stay agile enough to survive in a world of flux and uncertainty, culture should be everything. But because if we want to, you know, maybe because we want to put this in corporate lingo, culture is an enterprise software of 21st century creative company. Corporations are using, you know, process as a substitute for culture. It's really removing the heart of what is really needed, a human element. And removing human elements robs creativity's madness, which is needed to survive. So creativity blooms with the diversity and opportunity. And the creative process and the shape of its outputs are evolving and diversifying. For example, there's Wieden+Kennedy's 2009, you know, the shoot for Write the Future, the commercial for Nike, where they, you know, enlisted like A-list Hollywood directors and crew to film this very expensive but pretty amazing like a commercial. That was 2009. But now, Wieden in 2017, they have creative teams shooting 33 films for, you know, social media campaign on their iPhone with the app themselves. We see that the way we work and what we make is changing. It's expanding, it's diversifying, times are changing, and we have to make the best out of this crazy but amazing opportunity. So corporations these days cannot afford to harness and make space for creativity. And we cannot just leave it to process, best practice, or use of case study to determine what will work next. You cannot afford not to stay flexible, fluid, and try new things. If you don't allow little room to let people try something different, how are you going to create something that's groundbreaking? You probably heard of the definition of insanity. If you doing things, same thing over and over again, expecting different outcome. We kind of see a lot of like, you know, companies kind of doing something similar like this all the time, resisting to change and being in their comfort zone. So we have to let creativity blossom in order to do that. Embrace the chaos. And to wrap up, you know, if the creative marketing organization is to play flexible and fluid and willing to try something once, is to remain vigorous and adaptable, resist, and don't rely on best practice and benchmark process and inherent wisdom. It's going to reclaim its empathy. Also, stop pretending that, you know, the professionalize and formulate a creative process. We need like special condition for creativity to bloom and to embrace culture. And lastly, and don't take yourself too seriously or ourselves too seriously. As one of the, you know, theological like physicists, Professor Geoffrey West of Santa Fe Institute, who studied like correlation between nature, cities, and corporation, puts it, you know, leave a little room for BS to get creativity to flourish. We have to kind of let creativity flourish. You can't control that, and it's about supporting these kind of environment for people to come up with idea that's a little bit different and be a little brave about it. And this is the end of my session. I hope I give you a little bit of inspiration to create something amazing in the future. And thank you.
Thanks, Norio. Hi, everyone. We've come to the end of our TikTok Ads Academy program. I hope you managed to get some inspiration, learning, and joy throughout your experience. I certainly did, especially with Norio's session ending our program. We have another upcoming program in about 2 months' time in September. The registration will open soon, so watch this space. But feel free to attend again in September, or you want to spread the word for your colleagues and contacts to join us. That's also okay. The TikTok Ads Academy website should be popping up on your screen as well. If not right now, it should be soon. You should be able to see the latest updates about our Academy and also sign up for our monthly newsletter for regular insights and updates. Just to reiterate, the agency partnership managers in TikTok are already connected with you in your markets. So please do continue to have those conversations, as they will be able to continue working with you on very pointed and specific discussions. And as always, we are here to help you with your needs. So do continue to engage us. Reach out to us whenever you need help on your TikTok journey. I just want to lastly reiterate the mission, which is to bring joy and inspire creativity. Thank you again for joining us over the last 3 days. See you all again very soon. I'm going to give this 18 minutes back to everyone. Till then, stay safe, keep well, and thanks for joining us again. Thank you.